Hello world, and welcome to another episode of Jus Sayin with Willie Dexter Harris. Teresa Foster. Teresa was under the weather, so she wasn't able to make it here today. But don't get scared now, because y'all see this man right here. You know, man, that's what we're here for today. We're going to get an understanding about all this. I'd like to introduce you to one of our Shreveport's finest, Cpl Marcus Hines of the Shreveport Police Department, and I'm gonna give him an opportunity to, introduce himself and tell him a little bit about, his particular job, as far as corporal here in the police department.
Well, thank you first and foremost, Mr. Harris, for having me on this evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir.
My name is Marcus Hines, Cpl Marcus Hines professionally. You can just call me Marcus. I've been with the Shreveport Police Department a little over 14 years, and I do serve as the public information officer here for the police department. It's a pleasure to serve the public. My capacities prior to this have been a homicide detective, a DWI, CRU, and so I'm now currently assigned to administration as one of our public information officers. So again, like I mentioned, it's a service that we really like doing.
Okay. Yeah, and my purpose for, trying to bring you on, like I said, I'm sure, you deal with social media all the time, and, you got this opinion, about, the police is like this, and then you got this opinion that the police is like that. With the understanding I want, hopefully we can come up with, what I'm saying, we got a small amount of time, but at least we can get a little something of an understanding to exactly what is it that you think is a huge problem that's causing this separation between community and police relations.
I think one of the biggest problems we have is the misconception that police officers have a different mindset of caring. And when I say that, I was born and raised here in Shreveport. I'm from Cedar Grove. This has been my hometown for over 40 years. So when you start to talk about police officers in general, many of those officers live right here where we police.
Right.
And so what happens many a times, this job that we do as police officers was a job that you volunteered to do. No one had to go to the polls to vote for us to have this job. So therefore, there is no incentive to do anything for political gain.
Right.
You go out here and you take these inherent risks every day because you have a desire to serve the public. But what we must do is try to bridge that gap, because there is a noticeable gap where it comes down to communication and communicating effectively with the public. And we see it, I see it, and a lot of times, unfortunately, it comes down a lot of times to racial insensitivity.
Right.
And let me give you an example. Where I grew up, if you arrived at my house on any given weekend, we having a family gathering, you may hear a whole lot of loud talking and hooting and hollering, and somebody may be calling someone names.
Right.
Well, if you look a little closer, it's a domino game going on.
Okay.
And as you know anything about dominoes, there's a lot of noise talking. Everyone's having a great time.
Right.
But if you're not familiar culturally with that, you may arrive on the scene and think that everybody's ready to tear each other's head off.
Okay.
And you may handle that situation differently because you're thinking that this is a hostile group of individuals.
Right.
Because you're not culturally sound. You haven't seen that, hey man, honestly, this is how sometimes
that's how we act.
That's just how it happens a lot of times. So again, having that cultural diversity, having the understanding that everybody doesn't do everything the same, but people do have norms that oftentimes play out in this line of work. So when that phone rings and we come to people's houses, or we show up at whatever situation is seemingly out of control, we have to gain control of that situation and try to do it very quickly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that, because I'm a neighborhood guy too. I'm from Queensboro.
Right.
And I see, a lot of, situations that they're very simple situations, but because of either, I don't know if it's a fear, or I don't know if it's just they all of a sudden get arrogant, when they see a police officer show up, it's like their chest hairs grow. And rather than them just being normal, and let's just, whatever the problem is or whatever the reasoning for me being here, let's get an understanding of that so we can all move along. Because like I said in prior shows, it doesn't matter if it's you guys or if it's, us, the pedestrians. The goal is to make it home safe.
That's correct.
And if no matter what you guys have to do, you're gonna do what you gotta do to make it home safe to your families. Right. And if you're there and so they're not coming at you in a capacity that may, put them in a situation where they're unsafe. You know, they're really coming to make sure that the whole situation is safe in its entirety. You know, if they get a phone call, they didn't just show up at your house for no reason. Somebody called them. You know what I'm saying? And be it a neighbor saying that maybe the music is too loud, or maybe like you said, when you're partying, you maybe getting a little out of hand. You know what I'm saying? In their minds, the neighbor's mind. So when these guys come up, I have not seen one cop show up on the scene, guns in their hands, and it's a regular function that's going on. You know what I'm saying? They come in to talk to you, and then it all depends on your responses. You know, how they react toward you guys is from what my understanding is.
Well, you're absolutely right with that. Many times, police officers, you have to look at the term law enforcement. Law enforcement. You enforce the laws that are already written. It doesn't say you're a law agreement officer. You don't have to even agree with it, but you enforce it.
Yes, sir.
And so when someone calls, police are responding to someone who picked up the phone and say, hey, listen, this situation is getting out of control. I need some assistance. It is that police officer or officer's job to arrive there professionally.
Correct.
Because here's the thing, you know, I don't give police officers a break for talking to people stupid. Okay? Because for one, just because you have this uniform on doesn't give you the right to be rude, disrespectful, arrogant, because for one, you don't have anything to prove.
Right.
Your authority is established when you pull up on scene.
Right.
You're the police, okay?
Right.
You're bound by law to enforce the law, okay? So you don't have to treat people any type of way to be effective. However, again, like you mentioned, police officers are reactive. If you can arrive on a scene and someone's being totally cooperative, that's what we would like.
Right.
Okay. However, we know that's not always the case. So sometimes we have what you call a use of force continuum. What does that mean? Well, basically, if someone is screaming and yelling, you're trying to gain control, you may have to elevate your voice above theirs in order to get control. Or you may have to physically put hands on this person. It does not look very good on camera. Everyone has a cell phone. There's a camera everywhere. They even got them in your doorbells now. So anytime you come and have to use force on someone, of course there's going to be somebody there saying that officer hit him. We hit people. Okay?
Yes,
but
sir.
Again, I want people to understand, I'm not saying that to be, you know, we have to use force, right? But we have to be able to articulate that force. We just can't say, I walked up and I punched this guy in the face for no reason. No, you have to be able to rightfully, justly articulate how and why you use that level of force to gain control of that situation.
Okay.
And if officers do that effectively, they're going to be okay. It may not look good, but they're going to be okay. But what citizens have to understand is, like I mentioned earlier, a police officer was killed yesterday in Georgia. Young man been on the police department about a year and a half. Pulled someone over, he was killed, shot in the back of the head. Okay, God rest his soul. Now, he didn't know that when he conducted that traffic stop that was going to be his last day on the earth, okay?
That's right.
But he, and the canine dog was actually shot too. But here's the thing about that. You don't know who you're pulling over.
Okay.
So you hoping when you pull that car over that they stop, you hope that they're cooperative, but that ain't always the case, because some people, they jump right out with instant attitude. Man, what you pulled me over for?
Right.
Man. You know, now this officer's like, okay, your level has now risen. Okay, why is this guy or this girl acting like this? I don't know why, but I just told them they speed or brake light out, whatever the case may be, but they got instant attitude. Maybe it's from a previous stop where they were handled bad, or maybe they got warrants. Who knows? But that does not benefit you, because that officer at the end of the day is going to win that every time, because he's got a camera on, you know, and if you come out like that, it's not a good idea at all.
Right, that was a point that I had made before too. You know, when you come at them, when you come at these officers, you know, like I said, they have a job to do, you know, and most of the time, I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, you from, you know, Cedar Grove, you know, I'm from, you know, Queensboro, so it's a lot of interactions with the police department and the community in those neighborhoods. But the one thing that gets me is, like I said, the aggression. You know, if they just, like I said, take care of the business, do what you got to do, everything will be okay. And this is my opinion. I might make a few of my friends mad at me. I might make a few of them mad, but they'll get over it. 9 times out of 10, if you guys pull somebody over on it can, like you said, they may be speeding or swerving or something is going on for you to have a reason to pull them over. 9 times out of 10, those super aggressive ones, they're hiding something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They either being sought out already on warrants, or the fact that the words we use in the neighborhood are dirty. You know what I'm saying?
when you see that behavior, and I've been policing a long time, and experience does teach you certain things. When someone without provocation is extremely aggressive,
Right.
it raises your awareness. Why? You ask yourself, why is this person acting this way? You've never stopped them. They never had any dealings with you. And as a grown-up, as an adult with a sound mind, although you may have had a negative experience with an officer in the past somewhere else in the world, doesn't mean that you're going to have the same experience. So we have seen, and I try not to ever stereotype anyone, because people say, well, that's a bad guy. What does a bad guy look like? Does he hold up a sign and say, I'm a bad guy? So you can't stereotype. You can only base your actions off of whatever actions that are being done towards you. And that, again, is so important. You have to understand that a law enforcement officer wants to go home at the end of their shift. No police officer gets up in the morning and says, hey man, I want to go shoot me somebody. Not let me rephrase that. Not a good police officer, okay? Right. Says that because guess what? He's going to be scrutinized heavily. His family's going to be brought into it. If he has children, they're going to be brought into it. You're going to be placed on leave, sometimes with pay, sometimes without pay, but you have a lot of things that are going to come after that, so you really don't even want to get involved in it if you can avoid it. But
you speak in regards of the officer.
Right, regardless. Okay, those things will happen. Okay. So again, you must always be thinking, when we know that when we show up, 100% of the time, there's a gun on scene. Okay. 100% of the time, that's your gun. Okay? Right. It's the police officer's gun. Right. So you're thinking, if this person overpowers me, if this person should punch me in the face and knock me out, guess what? They can take my gun and kill me. We've had officers killed with their own guns. Yeah. So therefore, you're going to exercise that caution, and that police officer, he or she, they're going to use their training. Police officers are trained to be conscious of what's going on. So therefore, you're going to have a different reaction when someone is totally cooperative versus someone who's very uncooperative or very aggressive when they're being dealt with by the police.
That's correct. That's correct. Because I've been stopped, several times. But like I do, as I try to teach, the people that watch the show or the people I interact with, out in the public, as long as you stay calm, they'll stay calm. Right. Even if you get caught doing something wrong, as long as you remain calm about it, they're not just gonna. Okay, I see a bag of smoke in your car, or the car smells like it. You know what I'm saying? Or I see an open container, right there, within my view. You know what I'm saying? They're still not gonna just attack you. You know what I'm saying? If you stay calm, yeah, that's mine. I'm sorry. Whatever. You may get arrested for it, but at the same time, like you say, if you're not aggressive, then they won't become aggressive.
And another key point to that is this: what people have to realize: if a police officer is not going to tongue wrestle with you on the side of the road, okay, not going to do it. If you have a complaint, this is what you need to know. All patrol units are equipped with microphone boxes and cameras. Everything that they say is being recorded. So if you have a complaint, you have ways in which you can file those complaints. It's not that time on the side of I-20 to be arguing about 55 versus 95, okay? You have a courtroom for that.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to sign the ticket. Fine, you don't have to sign the ticket. Just take the ticket and you have your day in court. If you don't show up in court, they'll issue a warrant for your arrest at that point. But it's not appropriate to argue. If you feel like the officer was handling the situation incorrectly, be smart about it. Deal with the police officer, yes, no, thank you, have a nice day, and then you can file a complaint through internal affairs or appropriate channels by which you can save yourself a lot of time and headache. And yes, internal affairs does investigate all complaints against police officers. So don't get into a shouting match with someone, with an officer, because you don't agree with how they did it. Go ahead, and file your complaint that way.
Okay. All right, we're going to get right into this. And we'll be right back after this with Jus Sayin, with Dexter Harris, and my co-host Teresa Foster.
Bling, bling, and more bling. $5 bling. Just shop on the website at souljewelscollection.com. Paparazzi Jewelry. The jewelry lady is waiting for you.
It's my right now. I'm gonna take my bow. It's the perfect time to join Sportsplex 24/7. For a limited time, join for only $10 per month for everything. 24/7 gym access, free childcare, and unlimited fun group fitness classes. This is the best fitness deal you'll find anywhere. This is a limited time offer and space is limited, so act fast. Give us a call at 318-742-7539 or visit us online at iloveplex.com. That's iloveplex.com.
Jus Sayin with Willie Dexter Harris and Twisted Foxes. Holla!
All right, we're back. Now I heard a term that I really like. I hadn't heard it. I really don't think I ever heard it. What you say when you're on the side of the road and they want to go back and forth? What you got? You say it's called?
I call it tongue wrestling. Not going back and forth, tongue wrestling with anyone. We're not going to do that because you're not going to win that argument.
Okay.
And it's we joke about it, but the truth is you are not going to win that argument because at this point now you're going to eventually wind up where you may start to commit a criminal offense, whereas you may have initially had a traffic violation, and so you're upset. Now you're getting angry, and you may say, "Well, I'll do something." Now you're making threats, and now you get yourself in a bind. So the best course of action is to take the ticket, whether you agree with it or not. Take the ticket. You have a court date in a courtroom, and that is where you fight your battles, not on the side of the road. No one said, "Well, I have to." You saying I have to agree with it? No, I'm not.
Right.
You don't have to agree with it. That's exactly what I'm saying. But there is a due process to every citation, and you can go to court and fight it, not on the side of the interstate,
right,
or any other roadway.
It's an order. Everything in the world has an order, and just as he said, if you feel that you was unjustly pulled over or you feel like you was unjustly ticketed, then like he said, take your ticket, look at that date that's on it, show up at that court where you have to do it regardless. You have to be there regardless for that date. And when you get there, get in front of the judge. Now, most of the time when you guys give the tickets, when they go to court, that particular officer is in court as well, right?
That officer will be subpoenaed to come to that date should the person want to go to court on it. They don't have to. Some are mandatory court appearances.
Okay.
Others are not. But if it's a mandatory court appearance, that officer will receive a subpoena, and he or she will need to be in court on that day, and then you'll have your trial.
Right. And then don't go in there then, y'all, fighting and arguing with them inside the courtroom, because now you got witnesses of how terrible you're acting. And so you're basically justifying whatever action that officer took, because now they see your aggression hands-on. Even though 9 times out of 10 they're going to see it on that cam regardless. But like I said, it's all about controlling your emotions. These officers are not here with the set mind of, I'm going to terrorize, as many people as I can. Let's go to Queensboro, Motown, Allendale, or Bottom, and just find random people, and we're just going to terrorize them. These guys just want to do their job. Most of the time, I bet you guys will be happy if you go to work and don't have not one problem the entire day. That may not happen, but I know whenever it does, that's probably the thing that you guys are looking for.
I tell you what, there'd be a day in heaven on earth if we had a day where we didn't have to get any calls.
Right.
However unrealistic that is, but because we know we're going to get calls, it is important. And again, I always want the public to know we do not give police officers free passes to come out and treat people with disrespect. But guess what? Police aren't punching bags. They're not going to be disrespected either.
Correct.
And we're in a trend where it's getting younger and younger. No one is asking you to bow down to police officers. It's a mutual respect.
Right.
And respect goes a long way.
Mutual.
It goes a very, very long way. If you jump out of your car with instant attitude, it's probably not going to go too well for you. If that officer, again, I have seen some officers who I believe shouldn't even be within 100 miles of a badge, because that officer does not display the characteristics to even be a police officer.
Okay.
So, and with those guys have been moved out. Okay. They've either been fired or they've lost their jobs.
Okay.
Or quit or resigned. So, and that's another misconception. People say, "Oh, y'all just take care of each other." I don't know if people watch the news or not, but we arrest police officers all the time for wrongdoing. You know, so no one, not me, not you, no one is above the law.
Correct.
So you are, as a police officer, you're expected to do your job, do it professionally, do it safely, and to the best of your ability. As someone in the public, you're expected to cooperate with law enforcement, and it all boils down to, this is what we get a lot of. Everybody's a Facebook lawyer.
Okay.
Everybody want to tell you how to do your job. You know, this guy, no man, you don't have to listen to that. You don't have to. That person over there that's talking about to get you and themselves locked up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You talking about the one filming and talking at the same time?
The one who just giving out horrible advice about
I've seen
what is someone always running their mouth, talking loud, and just is wrong. You know, and you want to tell them, listen, man, you need to bag up. And at that point, I know my rights. I know your rights too. Okay, and that's the thing again. It's all about respect, and so, but we do, I want to say this, and I want to be clear about this, we make tens of thousands of traffic stops in Shreveport every year, and the overwhelming majority of them don't even end with a citation. The majority of them don't even end badly, but see, that's what Facebook, and not just to call out Facebook, but that's what social media in general does. They highlight the negative. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of interaction with people that are very positive interactions.
But they don't post that.
You're not gonna see that though.
Right.
You know, you may see an incident where an officer cursed somebody out. Bad. An officer was heavy-handed with someone, handled that situation poorly. No, that's not right. But that does not represent how we are trained to work. Correct. You know, and in every profession, I don't care if you're a police officer, I don't care if you're a plumber, a preacher, a postal worker, every profession you're going to find some bad people. Okay. You know, and I want people to understand that, but that is not, if I say, well, we went to Family Dollar and an employee was still in front of the register, does that mean that all Family Dollar employees steal?
Correct.
So there you go. All police officers are not bad police officers, and for the ones who are, trust me, we work very hard to get them out. You know, report them. That's what we want you to do. If you see a guy you think is dirty, report him or her. You know, don't hide them. We're not going to try to protect them. Report them. That's how you deal with that.
And they can't be everywhere. You know, like I said, a lot of bad raps you guys get, you know, as far as where was the police when this was going on? You know, or where was the police when that happened? Did any of you call them? You know what I'm saying? But after the fact is over with, and when you guys finally make it to the scene, after somebody eventually gets the word to you, you know, then you want to go, well, the police ain't do nothing for me. Police didn't try to help me, you know, do whatever. But you don't want them all in your life, but you want them all in your life. Because if they're not there, and say a domestic violence situation is happening in a home, and someone ends up getting hurt, you know, maybe even killed, what did that police officer have to do with it?
Well, that again, people look to place blame. And when you start to talk about why things happen, there's so many factors that we don't have control over. It's not making excuses, it's just speaking facts. If you mentioned domestic violence, we had a young lady, unfortunately, who passed away. She was shot and killed last week over in Greenbrook. And the thing about that was unless we had prior knowledge that was going on, it's very difficult to intervene in a situation such as that. Unfortunately, this young lady lost her life. And that's just one thing we want people to know. We're not trying to ever pass the buck. We believe in leading the charge when it comes to crime fighting. That's our job. We're going to continue to do it. But it's not just a one-dimensional job. It encompasses a lot of different people also helping. The community plays a major role in that.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that and just a little bit more when we come back with Jus Sayin, Willie Dexter Harris, Teresa Foster, and Cpl Marcus Hines of the Shreveport Police Department.
Hi, my name's Patrick, and I chose Pat Goins' cosmetology course because they work with my schedule.
Start your career in the beauty industry at Pat Goins Beauty School. Contact us today for more information about enrollment and financial aid availability.
All right, we're back with Cpl Marcus Hines of the Shreveport Police Department. One more thing I want to touch on before we go. We were just talking about it as far as, you know, the relations as far as the community. You know, I don't know if that plays into the not snitching or whatever the case may be. But I feel like, there's a lot of things that, as far as the community involvement, if the community would get more involved in helping with a lot of these situations, it'll be less crime, and then you won't have to be thrown into the wolves, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And then lied on, rumors started on you guys and whatnot or whatever. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand exactly what you're saying. And here's the thing, Mr. Harris. I'm a firm believer. The streets talk. I firmly believe that there's not a murder in this city that somebody doesn't know about, if not only the person who committed that murder. Someone knows. And here's the thing, people expect, and here, when you start talking about expectations, they're realistic expectations. We expect police to be courageous. We expect police to do their job. We expect police to come when you call them. We expect that. Those are realistic. Unrealistic expectations of the police are this: show up to a scene, you got 100 eyewitnesses, and when you get them to the side or you have them come to your office, no one sees anything, no one wants to tell you anything, but they get and expect for you to solve that. Like we work miracles.
Right.
There's only one miracle worker. We know who that is.
Most definitely.
It is not us.
Right.
We work hard. We work diligently. Even if people refuse to cooperate, we are still going to work as hard to find out what happened. But the community has a role to play in that. Let's work together. I don't care who you are. If you know who shot Tom, you be telling the police that.
Right.
And there are ways by which you can do that anonymously, where no one will never know who you are. Crime Stoppers, I tell people all the time. I also work as a Crime Stoppers coordinator, so those tips that come in, they'll come into my office, have no way of knowing who these people that call this stuff in.
Okay.
We don't have to talk to them. We don't need your phone number. We don't need to know where you live. We don't need an alias for you. There are ways by which you can leave anything you need to know anonymously. Start talking about narcotics. A large segment of the crime that we have are directly related to illegal narcotics.
Right.
You know who's selling dope in the hood. You know what a trap house is. You know where it's coming from. You know who got it.
Right.
So if you want to say, well, they ain't bothering me. No, they may not be bothering you. But guess what? When somebody pull up, want to rob them and start shooting, and that bullet flies through your house and hits your kid, they bother you now.
Right.
You see?
Right.
So there's indirect that will directly affect you if left alone. So that's why it's important to don't let these things ride. You really want to see some solutions. People who live wherever crime is occurring, we want that relationship.
Right.
We value that relationship. We can't work without that relationship. We're going to continue to do what we need to do. I don't believe in making excuses. Get it done. But you have to work smart. Okay? And therefore, if I know I have a plug over here, someone who's connected in, who can give me the information I need, you may want to, talk to that person and develop a relationship with them and value their relationship and have that relationship built on trust.
Right, and that is a huge deal, because another thing that it bothers a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? It kind of bothers me as well. When they'll say stuff like, I'll hear, like I say, I hear things all the time, and I hear things like, well, those people of an opposite race, how come they solved that so fast?
Oh.
And then, over here, when this particular race, some of them, it still ain't solved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's because there's information being passed that's helping them get to the bottom of this situation. And over here, you're just sitting around as if you're telling the police, figure it out. Just figure it out.
I was a homicide detective for years, and one thing I know is when a case comes across my desk, I don't care what color you are, we're going to work just as hard to solve that case, but you hit the nail on the head. When you have people pouring in information, that helps.
Right.
And a lot of times you see that end result may come quicker, whereas you have people who know all the information, but they're going to sit on their hands. Well, I don't know. That does not work. That is stupid.
Right.
It is foolish. And once it's your family that's been victimized, then you're going to want everyone to say something.
Right.
So I understand the code of the streets. I'm from the street, man. However, when you live and you learn, you grow up in your mind, you understand there's a better way to do things, and we're going to be successful.
Right.
I'm not a politician. My job isn't city government. My job is law enforcement.
Okay.
That's my focal point. That's what we focus on at SPD, is getting it done. And we're going to start from the top down. We're going to get it done, but we need, and I can't understate this, we need the public's assistance. very much. We appreciate it. We've had it. You know, in a lot of cases, I don't want the public to think that we're harping on them, because the public's done an outstanding job here in Shreveport. But we need that to continue. We need people to continue to call Crime Stoppers, continue to tell us what we know, tell them what they know. We had an incident with some cigars that came up stolen, and we put that information out within minutes. Public chimed in. No dealing with it.
Okay, so like I said, so it's all about, it's not about snitching. It's just, bringing the police aware of what's going on. And then therefore you guys can take it from there and make it happen.
Let's work
but
together.
if you have zero information, you're going to get zero response. You
have to work together.
You got to work together.
You
got to work together. And on that note, once again, I want to say a special thank you to our great chief, Mr. Ben Raymond, for allowing this interview to take place. Especially like to thank, Corporal Marcus Hines. I've been communicating with him for about a month or so, trying to make this thing happen. And I appreciate he and Chief Raymond, for allowing us to have this opportunity to speak with them. And let's see if we can get a better understanding between, the police and the community. And maybe we'll get him back again on a later date, and we'll talk about some other things. But until then, we'll see you next week with Jus Sayin, Willie Dexter Harris, Teresa Foster. Peace.